Hi lovelies, my name is Jessica and welcome to makeup.misfit, and I have a couple videos that I want to film today. I'm going to try and get through both of them actually rather quickly because my eyes are just irritated today. They have not stopped watering since I tried putting on my eye look this morning. I did have to take it off because it was just not working out. Um, so unfortunately, I do not have my eye look on that I had on earlier today, which I was really excited about because since this update is my Panning Solitaire update, I did a really pretty look. But it had to come off. It was already on its way off, and I just had to take the rest of it off. But that's okay. We will get through this. So since this is my Panning Solitaire update, I'm really excited to show you guys where I'm sitting at. So the last update, I rolled in my trio, which was the second trio that I'm working on. And those shades were Ultraviolet, Galaxy, and Crash. So I'm going to show you guys what it's looking like right now. And I'm very happy with the progress. So here's Ultraviolet, here is Galaxy, and here is Crash. So let's start with Ultraviolet first. Now this shade, I don't like it with a brush. I have to use it with my finger. So that little dip in there, it was a brush. That's where I was kind of focusing it. But I really just have to use my finger. So it's kind of evening out the dip as we go. So it may actually take a little while before I reach the pan in that shade. But that's fine. I really enjoy how that shade looks on my lids. It's a very pretty purple shade. So I have no issues reaching for it, especially with my finger. It's just, I know it's just going to take a little bit longer to actually hit the pan. But that's fine. I still have some time. There is no end date to this project. Whenever I happen to hit pan in every shade is when this project is over. So there's no rush, but I'm really happy with the progress that I've been making on that shade. And I have reached for that one, I believe about 8 times now. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with that. Maybe it's been a little bit more. Maybe it's about 10. But anyways, next is Galaxy, and that is, now that I look at it, that pan is so much larger than what it was this morning. So I did put this in my inner corner this morning, and I did try to expand the pan a little bit just because of the way that the angle was with my brush reaching it. It was just this tiny little sliver that you could tell, but it was a little bit hard. So I wanted to expand it a bit, and that expanded so much more than I realized it was going to. This shade only took me 6 uses to hit pan in it, but it did have previous usage prior to this project. So I'm not too surprised. And then today, like I said, I kind of made sure I tried to expand that pan, and I used it in my inner corner where I had used Ultraviolet on the rest of my eyelid. Pairing those two together, I absolutely love. It's such a beautiful look that I tend to get, and I'm really, really happy with that. So I have one more pan in here. So I'm still working on this trio, but I'm happy because I feel like it's going to happen a lot sooner than later. So I really don't reach for this shade as much since I've hit pan in it, but I still make the attempt to try and get a little bit of use on it. But I am really just focusing on these two at the moment. And then this one is Crash, and you can see that little dip in there, and that makes me so excited. I actually love that. Oh, my power just went out. Weird. Okay. I'm not sure why that happened. But back to the shade. So I actually love the shade so much more than I thought I was going to. Not that I thought I wasn't going to like it, but in the pan, it just looks more of like a very, very light brown shade, but it has this really pretty purple pink tone to it, and I find it's beautiful on the eyelid. I enjoy using it in the crease, so I do it like as my transition, and sometimes I just do it as a one shade. So I use it into the crease, into the outer V. I make sure I blend it out. Sometimes I layer it up a little bit, and I really love how that shade looks. So I'm really happy with how this is looking. I'm really happy with the progress that I've been making on these 3 shades. They are 3 beautiful shades all paired together. And I can't believe how big that pan expanded in just this morning. So I'm super excited about that one. But I do still have to hit pan on here before I can roll in my third and final single shade. So at this rate, I might even be able to do that by the next update. Now I have kind of stopped reaching for this here and there, but I feel like if I'm very consistent with it on top of all the other eyeshadows that I'm working on, I might actually be able to hit pan on this by the next update. I really do feel like reaching for this crash shade. The dip is actually a lot larger than I thought. Like, I feel like I'm a lot closer to that, and that's taken me 15 uses so far, that I could probably hit pan on that matte shade a lot sooner than I did on this hot matte shade, which is super fun, which I would absolutely love. I will probably continue to use it as like a crease shade or a transition afterwards as well, for when I decide I want to dip back into this palette for other things. But I really, really like that shade, and I'm very happy with like how much I actually enjoy it. And I've just really loved this palette as a whole so much lately. I have reached for a few other shades in here, and as you can see, the supermoon shade is, the pan in here is expanding, so I really do like to use this as a topper still. And I actually did that just the other day. One look was with this palette and my focus shades, and I just tapped that all over. But I did pair it with a couple of other shades, and I did the same thing, just tapped it all over top, and it just gives it such a beautiful look. So I'm working my way through that one, but that's, you know, what it's looking like, and this is what the palette is looking like, and I'm very happy with just my overall progress on here. And I'm really excited to see what my next single is going to be, but we're not there yet. We're still working on this trio, so let's just focus on that and let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. But I'm really, really happy with this. So that is the update. There wasn't a whole lot to talk about, but hopefully by the next one, I will be able to roll in the single, because it would be pretty awesome if I could have pan in the last 2 shades. I do feel like ultraviolet might actually be the one that's the hardest, or not even the hardest, but just the last shade to hit pan in, just because I have to use my finger, since trying to use it with a brush, especially a dry brush, doesn't really work for me. I haven't tried spraying down a brush, so I could try that and see if I notice a difference, and then I feel like I'd be able to hit pan sooner than later that way, because a brush tends to just dig into the product a little bit more than your finger does. So I do enjoy how it looks with my finger, so we'll see if spraying a brush down helps at all, and then I'll determine if I'll use it that way or not. But I'm really happy with my progress on this so far. So let me know if you think I'll be able to hit pan in those last 2 shades by the next update. And let me know how you guys are liking this project, because I do want to continue it after this palette has been completed. And I do have a couple palettes in mind that I want to work on, so I'm really excited about that. That's going to be whenever this happens to be finished, but like I said, I believe in the last update. I know this is going to go into the new year, and I'm totally fine with that. I'm happy about that. I'm really loving the progress that I've been making on this palette, and I think I actually started this, I don't know if it was in January or February of last year, but it was, or this year, it was the beginning. So it's taken almost a full year to just get this much use on it, but considering like I've completely finished off 1 shade, and I have pan in so many others, and pan has been expanding in quite a few of these as well, I'm really happy with how this is looking. And I've been making progress on other shades in here too that you just can't quite see because they haven't been in this project yet, but this palette is getting there, and I'm very, very happy about it. But it's going to be so bittersweet, like, when I actually finish this palette off, because I would love to do that after this project, just because of how much I enjoyed this. I would love to go back to it and completely finish off every shade. So that's it. But thank you guys so much for watching this update. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you all later. Bye.